I'm going to come in like this.
Oh, wait. Am I ready? Wait,
We're
I don't
ready.
know what I'm doing. We have to have the opening. We can't go until we have the opening. I was trying to beat you. I saw you doing the cool thumb finger thing.
It's no fair, man. You can see, but I can't see you. Damn it. So, hey, everybody. Good evening. It's Wednesday night, January 17th, 2024. I am Ron.
And I'm his older brother, Mike.
Much older brother, Mike. Yeah, welcome. TMI, the podcast. Are you shitting me, man? We were kind of having a conversation off screen about what to talk about tonight, because originally this was to be a generational thing, but man, there's so many other things to talk about. So I think we might kind of tonight we're gonna flip the script and just be like, Mike and Ron just chop it up. What do you think, Mike?
Did you just say chop it up?
Amen.
Word. Yeah.
I'm hip.
It's funny. It's I was thinking about it after you brought it up. Maybe we need to change the name of this thing. I never thought of chop it up. I think you actually said something about Mike and Ron rip it up or something like that.
Yeah.
Thought, well, no, at our age, Mike and Ron ripping anything, that's not really a picture you want to, paint in your head.
I do that when I walk.
I dig chopping it up.
Chopping it up. TMI, chopping it up.
Yeah, I'm going to go look and see if that's taken.
There you go. We're in.
We might change to Mike and Ron chopping it up.
So I think what we decided on was tonight. Literally, we're gonna free for all, because I have a few things in my mental storage that I want to bring up that happened this week, and it does kind of have to do with some generational stuff. And before I jump into that, I'm gonna turn the mic over to Mike and see what you have. If you have anything to jump off with, if not, I will happily jump in.
No, you know what? I'll let you start and see where this river flows. And if I need to put my dinghy in, I'll do it.
Well, as one old guy said to the other, let me start the stream.
What are you bragging?
So anyway, listen. So this has to do with how kids are brought up, and Mike and I talk a lot about the way we were brought up in our dad, and it was a very respectful thing, man. And you either had respect or you got your ass beat for it. And I don't mean that in a bad way, like we were abused as kids, but we had an immense respect for our father. So that being said, yesterday, now mind you, this is just yesterday, Tuesday, my wife stopped at the grocery store on her way home, and she gets home and she was a little frustrated about something. I'm like, what happened? She's like, so I'm walking down the aisle with my cart at the grocery store, mind you. And she goes, and these two teenage boys, maybe, 13, 14 years old, one walks up to her, reaches in her cart, grabs a can of soup out of it, and looks at her and goes, what's this? And Michelle's like, it's a can of soup. And he goes, does it smell like soup? And Michelle she's like, give me that, and grabbed it back out of his hand. And I'm like, I'm not professing to be some tough guy or anything, but I would have beat the fucking brakes off of that kid. I'm sorry. Right. If you're dumb enough to get in my wife's personal space, and you're dumb enough to take shit out of her cart and make her feel uncomfortable, then you're dumb enough to pay the repercussions of what happens afterwards.
Well, see,
am I wrong?
No, you're not. You're absolutely right. In fact, this was a conversation I've had more times than I can count, little brother. And that is, you're hitting everything on the head. Respect, upbringing. The other problem is there's no fear of consequence. The
Amen.
Thing that I tell people is kids like that, they can't spell the word consequence, let alone know what it is. And there's the problem. And what will happen is at some point in time, hats off to Michelle. I'm glad you weren't there because I know you, but hats off for Michelle, for, being able to get past it. but at some point they're going to do that to somebody, and they're going to get their ass kicked, if not worse. You know, that's why when I see these, and I know you do it, I'm not a TikTok guy. It's just, that's not my realm. It's not where I hang. But I have seen them, and I tell people all the time, look, I don't have TikTok, but if you've been on Facebook, I don't know on other social media sites, but if you scroll enough, you'll see these things called reels. Well, 85% of those reels are TikTok videos. They're gleaned from TikTok. And so there's two or three that I'll see once in a blue moon. And what it is it's you know, kids, I'd say, you know, 18, 20-year-old kids doing something they think is funny. Is you know, there's a guy that goes up to another dude, you know, a guy in like a home improvement store, and he holds like a, I don't know, something up to his mouth and goes up to the guy's ear and he yells, and then like smacks him on the head or something and runs off and runs around to the next aisle and changes shirt and comes walking out like nothing happened.
Yep.
And one of them is some little idiot that carries around, and it took me a long time to figure out it's actually the drink, but he says, it's me bang, it's my bang, it's my bang. And I thought, you know, fuck you.
Yeah. Amen.
If I'm built to the point now to where what's going to start happening is these little shits are going to start getting their ass kicked, or check it. Some of them are good, and I'm sorry. I'm not encouraging this. I'm not telling people to do it. Some of these kids are going to start getting shot.
No, and you're Mike, you're right on the point, man. Right at the point, because everybody in today's society, not everybody, 90% is on 10. Everybody's on 10. They're stressed out, they're frustrated, they're, you know, and I know exactly what you're talking about, because I have to skip past those videos because it literally gives me anxiety to watch that shit. Because and like you said, I know me, man. I'm like, my tolerance for that kind of shit is like minuscule. Yeah. I even told Michelle yesterday, I'm like, I literally thank God I wasn't there, because she would have been bailing my ass out of jail.
No doubt. Like I said,
there's no two ways around it.
I know you. I know the blood that runs through your veins, and that's you know. But that's what's going to happen. You know, and it's interesting. I told you that, you know, I was going to write a book, and the book title was going to be "Are You Shitting Me?" And the subtitle is "Why My Childhood Was Better Than Yours." So I've already started writing it, and some of this is actually in there. You know, kids and even younger adults, they think they know what discipline is. They think they know what, you know, a good upbringing is. I'm telling you, the more that I've read about it, the more I research, you and I are the last of the great generations
of a dying breed.
Baby boomers and Gen Xers. That's it. I mean, anything that comes after that, there may be a sprinkling of the changeover as we move into the future generations, but they'll never know. They'll just never know, the discipline. They'll never know the consequences of their actions, because they don't think there is one.
Sure.
And it's not even entitlement. Entitlement is not an accurate way to describe it. It's more of they just have no fear of doing anything that is wrong,
of repercussions. And I heard you say it, Mike, before, and you know, we grew. I know I did a lot of dumb shit when I was a kid. A lot of dumb shit. I know you did a lot of dumb shit. But you said it, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but Dad's not even alive. I still fear what that man thinks of me when I do shit. I'm 55 years old. And, you know, and that's the problem with today, is these kids just, to walk up to a woman alone in a grocery store and antagonize her like that, you're going to get the fucking brakes beat off of you one of these days, because you're going to catch the wrong guy on the wrong day with the wrong attitude.
You're going to catch the wrong woman who's just had enough and decides, no, fuck it, I'm killing you.
Honestly, Mike, I'm surprised Michelle didn't deck the kid, to tell you the truth.
You know what? That's actually kind of where I thought the story was going. I thought you were going to tell me, and Michelle proceeded to beat his ass. Cool. Is there video?
Yeah. So the other thing
look,
I
I
wanted
know
to bring up, which has to
I
do
know
with
my
generation.
sister-in-law. I ain't touching that one.
The other thing that has to do with generational. Michelle and I have 4 grandkids, and just love them all. And we had the 2 grandboys stay at the house over the weekend, right? And Saturday morning, the oldest grandboy and I'm like, hey man, go throw your shoes on. We're gonna sneak out. You and I are gonna go down. We'll get some donuts for everybody else, right? Yeah, little father, grandpa, grandson time. So we sneak out. We get in the truck. We drive down to the donut place, little Chinese shop down the street. Best fucking donuts in Vegas. It's called Friendly Donuts. If you're ever here, check it out. It's awesome.
I heard of Friendly Donuts.
Oh my god, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we drive down there. As we're driving down there, I'm like, hey, his name is Jericho. I'm like, hey, Jericho, do you know that place that Papa and Tita go to in Montana? He's like, oh yeah, I remember. I said, do you know what the temperature is today? Now, mind you, this is a week or so ago. I said, what the temperature is? He goes, I don't know. It's got to be cold, like maybe -2. I'm like, no, but it's like -22. And he looks at me and goes, and you want to live there? I'm sort of laughing. I'm like, yeah, I
what the hell's
do.
wrong with you?
I'm like, yeah, I do. And then Mike, seriously, I'm driving and I look in the rearview mirror and I see him straight face go, I'll pray for you.
Yeah. I thought he'd be mouthing like,
yeah.
oh, with Grandpa.
No, he looks at me and goes, I'll pray for you.
Yeah, see, my question is, hey, Grandpa, so is there a Friendly's Donuts there?
Yeah, right.
I'm good with that. Cold weather. All right. So what I thought about is, we don't have really, we got like one person on now. I don't even know who it is. So maybe we should promo this for the next podcast. But, consequences, actions, right from wrong. Were we Hellraisers? Yeah. I've told you before, I've done some things that I'm really hoping the statute of limitations has run out on. So since we didn't really promote tonight's podcast, and I think we're kind of paying the price for it, tell you what I'll do. Next Wednesday, I will share at least one of those events that I've been keeping secret for a long, long time. We
need to promo this stuff like every day for the next 6 days.
I don't think it'll get me in trouble.
Yeah. Famous last words.
It was funny at the time, and then it spent a few years just scaring the hell out of me because I thought, oh, God. I feared any time like a cop would come by. Well, here's the problem. I feared any time a cop would come by the house, but we also had cops that lived on our street. And so I thought, oh, great. I'm so screwed. On our street, if you think about it, that there were times, I kind of wondered, how did we even do some of the things we did? Because at one time, God, we had
right there in the corner.
Like a couple of cops lived there. Had at least 2 firemen,
fire chief.
Yeah, I think Larry and didn't Rick Martinez. He also worked
for the fire. Yep.
So we had we lived in a pretty good neighborhood where we still did shit that wasn't right. But, if you can get past the burning house, all bets are off. It's all right.
I got a few stories I could tell, but I can't tell a couple of them because I guarantee you that even 35 years later, the statues are still not up.
Well, none of mine involve I didn't kill anybody or anything. But,
as long as your next phone call to me isn't, hey Ron, can I borrow some bail money?
Hey, you got any good bail bondsmen? You fly out here and give me a hand. Can you help a brother out? I mean, literally, can you help a brother out?
So who do we have online? Anybody good? Who is it?
Nobody has checked in yet. I can tell we've had 2 or 3 people pop in. We got one on there right now, and I'm suspecting it's probably somebody that shares our same last name.
Somebody fishing.
Someone just checking it out. So, if you hop on later, look, it's usually, the attendance is way better than this normally. Here may be the other problem. Maybe they were all Dallas Cowboy fans and are still seeking counseling.
Wow, you want to go there?
if that's the case, hop on right now, and counselors are standing by. I'll be glad to
Repent. Hey, look, let's you kicked it off. No pun intended. Let's talk. Take 5 minutes. Talk football, man. I love the Packers quarterback. That kid played an impeccable, damn near perfect game. I mean,
he rocked, man.
You seriously would be hard pressed to tell me a quarterback that has played that well in a wild card playoff ever.
Jordan. Well, check it out. Jordan Love, as you know, didn't he stay perfect through the game as far as a QB rating?
Yes.
It was like 137. It's like the best QB rating ever in a playoff game.
That's what I mean. I challenge you to tell me somebody else that played as well as that kid did.
He was lights out, man. And it was from the drop, the first whistle until the last whistle. They just killed it. And here's what I always tell people, because I've had some friends, even our friends and family in Colorado. Aren't you a Cowboys fan? God, no. I keep trying to tell people my two favorite teams are Denver and anybody who's beaten Dallas. I'm good. So I was a huge Green Bay Packer fan that day. And just to wrap up that one, here's what I've always thought about Dallas, especially with Dak coming in and Ezekiel Elliott. If you can get to them early, if you can just get in their head, you can literally see them giving up. I mean, you could always see it in Zeke's eyes. If you look close, you can just tell this kid's given up. He's just, they've stole his thunder. Dak's the same way. If you can get into his head, if you look in his eyes, he'll tell you, you guys are kicking my ass. And so I'm sorry. I took a great measure of, pleasure.
My buddy Roger, he owns the Steiner's Pubs here in town. Huge Cowboys fan. And I was texting him for some reason. He texted me this meme. Do not text me during the game. May cause serious bodily damage. So I didn't text him until the next day. We're doing some remodeling on his house, and it's just one of those things like just don't ask. Just don't ask.
Right. I started my radio show off yesterday with do you need counseling? Are you still struggling? Please call 806-350-0710. Operators are standing by. We'll place you with a counselor. I promise you the sun will come up tomorrow. It is, and look, now speaking of football, and I don't know if we want to stay here or not. I mean, we're at the 18-minute mark. So I just happened to hear a news story today that in California, they want to ban tackle football for kids 12 and under.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
It's bad enough that I hate watching professional football now because, somebody has a bruised cuticle and you can't tackle them. I mean, seriously, I mean, I hate to make it that, I hate to be that guy, but it's like, come on, this is you're a professional person making millions of dollars playing a game, and this is not what it was. And we talked about this once before, Mike. And in fact, I love do you have it? Do you still have it? The picture you sent me? Can you put it up or no?
Oh no, I can't have
but yeah, Mike sent me a picture of the dude. I forget who the hell it was. The football.
It's Len Dawson. It's Len Dawson.
In the middle of the game on the sideline, just smoking a cigarette, and nowadays these guys are like, my pancreas hurts. I can't play.
Actually, a friend of mine posted that one, and I thought, holy shit, there's the picture I was talking about. And,
wow, that's great.
And it was kind of the same thing. It's, the difference between then and now is here's Len Dawson, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, sitting on the sideline huffing a cancer stick. And, today it's I don't know. It's sad. It's disgusting. And every one of these rule changes that try to, make it easier and easier and less violent. Look, football is a barbaric sport.
It's a violent sport.
That's the way it is.
That's like having UFC, but you can't punch them in the face.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
When I heard the story today about 12-year-olds, I thought, good luck with that. I
Dude,
can't see.
matter of fact, last week, I'm sorry, Mike.
No,
Last
go
week
ahead.
we had Matt on, and Matt and I played YAL football, Youth Athletic League, when we were kids. And when I say kids, I'm talking 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And we played straight up tackle football. And did kids get hurt? Absolutely. But you know what? Life is not going to cater to you all the time. It's not going to bend the way you want it to bend. You have to learn, kids have to learn how to deal with situations like that. And if you don't want your kid to do it, that's fine. That's great. That's all you. You do you, boo. But you know what? I'm glad I grew up the way I did. I'm glad I grew up knowing the things that I know, because it has made me the person that I am today.
I'm glad I got the cuts I did. I'm glad I broke the bones I did. I'm glad I
Amen.
chipped a tooth. I'm glad I'm glad I needed Band-Aids and mercurochrome. That's, it's all part of the process. In fact, I told you earlier, I've already started on the book. I told you I was going to write, thanks to you. And the chapter I'm on is actually, it's a precursor to the title of the book, but the chapter I'm on right now is, it's just titled "Let's Go Outside." And the purpose, the impetus behind this chapter is going to be, or it is, in order to experience life and to remind yourself that you're alive, you're going to have to go outside. You can't feel the angst, the fear, the hair on your neck, the back of your neck stand up. You can't feel the adrenaline rush by being inside and playing a video game. It's not going to happen. Gamers can tell me till you're blue in the face. You can. I'm going to tell you to kiss my ass. You can't. Go outside. Do something to scare the hell out of yourself. Do something. Skin your knee. Break a bone. It's part of the learning process. And the chapter to follow is going to be the one that's titled "Let's Go Outside and Throw Shit at Each Other." But there's that's the problem. That's not the problem, but that's one of the underlying issues in today's world is, people just afraid to go outside.
I was at a client's house today, Mike, and her and her husband, Tom and Shannon, they're good friends, just love them to death. They're great people. And Shannon and I are the same age. Tom's a few years older, but same genre. And we were talking about it, because I talk about our podcast and the things that we discuss on our podcast. And she's like, yeah, man, she goes, when we were kids, it's like, you know what, literally go outside and burn that shit off. Take that energy, go outside and do some good with it. It's I'm sorry. I can't, it's hard for me to fathom or live in a world where you have more fun sitting inside, because Mike and I grew up in Colorado Springs, Colorado, for those of you that don't know. So, man, you had the mountains, you had hiking, biking, trails, fishing, hunting. I mean, anything that you could imagine. Mike used to skateboard, and we had the neighborhood kids. We were always doing something. And nowadays it's like, well, let's play Roadblocks, or let's play Halo, or let's play this, or I'll meet you online. Matter of fact, before we got online, Mike, I was just kind of Googling some things, and I'm like, I wonder how we go about communicating with other generations. And so I'm reading this article. I read actually several articles. And the ironic thing, the one thing that was a constant in this, out of all of those, the only one that said face-to-face communication was baby boomers.
Yeah.
Everything else was, get on email, get on Facebook, get on, send them a text, go on a video call, go on the baby boomers was the only one that said they prefer face-to-face communication. I prefer face-to-face communication. I would rather press palms, give you a hug, talk it out, chop it up, whatever you want to call it, man. Because I'm sorry, man, you can't have a good conversation with this, in my opinion. That's not a conversation.
No, those things have made us. They've made us intellectually. They've just set us. They continue to move us back to the Stone Ages. And that being said, exactly what Ronnie just said, and I've said it here before, and I'll say it again. The future of communication, the ability for us to be able to communicate with one another. That includes, bumping into each other at the store. That includes applying for and going through the interview process for a job. Anything that's going to require that kind of communication, at some point, it's just going to look totally different because that applicant's going to want to sit in front of you and answer your questions by way of a text or an emoji, or they want to do it from their house.
Like this.
Yeah, that's literally what's going to happen. Look, there are some people. It's. I think we talked about this, or maybe I always get this and my show confused. But there was something had come out where there's a push by school districts across the country to have what we used to call just handwriting. Today it's called cursive. They want that removed from any kind of school district teaching because some people today don't know how to read it. There was, in fact, it was here in Amarillo, there was a story of a young lady that got a job at a doctor's office here, and she got some information, some instructions from her doctor concerning a patient. Well, the doctor, we can joke about doctor handwriting, but the doctor hand wrote, and by that I mean cursive, these instructions to this lady, to this young lady, and the young lady stood there, and he walked off. Well, the young lady sat there and looked at this, and she couldn't figure out what it was. And so finally, an older nurse sitting next to her, and I'm not making this up, this happened, finally said, is everything okay? And she said, well, because she just started there, she says, well, I don't know what language this is. We weren't taught this in school.
Oh my God.
And so the older nurse looked at it and she said, oh, baby, this is cursive. It's handwriting. The young lady thought it was a foreign language.
Wow.
So that alone should almost just paint the picture of where we're going, what we're going to experience moving forward. And that is, look, if you can't recognize handwriting, if you can't drive a manual shift transmission, if you can't communicate just face-to-face, F2F, if the only way you can communicate or share or engage in conversation is by way of texting and emojis, we're done. I do weep for the future.
I'm going to tell you something, Mike. You said something that's very profound. I don't think you realize how profound it is. I have two granddaughters. One is 13, one is 9. One goes to a private school here in town, the one that my wife and I adopted. And then the other one goes to a public school. We offered the other one to go to the same private school, but she doesn't want to. She wants to stay in the school she's in. The private school teaches cursive.
Yeah.
Predominantly teaches cursive. The older granddaughter has no idea what cursive is. So it really is, man. And just you saying that, Mike, it sends chills down me because, man, we're losing this fight. I mean, we really are. It's not even a fight, man. It's a battle because, wars are won by small battles, and this is a battle we're definitely losing, in my opinion, because you hit it right in the head, man. You can't read cursive, you can't drive a stick shift, you can't communicate any other way besides something that has to do with social media or text.
Yep.
I mean, those days they're literally going by the wayside.
And it's a shame. It's really a shame. I hate to hear that about, your granddaughter. I was almost said her name. Do we not say her name? Is that what you're trying to avoid?
Well, I don't care. The older one's Aviana, the younger one's Elena.
Elena is she's going to rule the world. There are just some young kids that you can see that in. My cousin Nicole, Ben is literally, a walking genius. He's a child prodigy, plays every instrument, is a wizard on the piano already. I love watching Elena. I love seeing the things she does because Elena single-handedly, they're just young kids like this that will give you hope. That the flame flickers inside of them, and so the question is, how do we move that flame and get the fire burning again?
But Mike, answer me this, and I'm sure you can. But where do you think that flame comes from?
Well, it comes from you. It comes from me.
it comes from the person
those.
raising that child.
Yeah.
You know, and I hate to say it, but you know, I'm blessed because my son Ron Jr. Is a carbon copy of me. You know, go getter, works his ass off, does whatever it takes to make it happen. And I tell you what, dude, and Mike, you know as well as I do, that's a rarity in today's day and age, especially a 30-something-year-old young man. You know. And it definitely has to start with us. And I'm not going to get off on a boohoo story about it, but I did want to say I'm going to tell a funny story real quick because we're at 30 now. But
yeah,
so I told you, youngest granddaughter goes to a private Christian school of all things, but she also goes to or used to go to the School of Rock, and she plays electric guitar. And one of the songs they were learning on there is "Highway to Hell" by AC/DC. so yeah, I know you know where this is going. So anyway, so
yeah, I can tell where this one's going.
We're at a parent-teacher conference one day, and I'm like, so let me tell you, you know, Elena goes to a School of Rock, and she's playing electric guitar, and one of the songs that she plays is "Highway to Hell." The teacher goes, "Oh, I know." She told me. She goes, but she says. She also said, "It's okay, though, because I'm saved by the grace of God, and it's okay for me to play this."
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Oh, that's my kid right there.
Oh, God, I love her. I love her. That's awesome.
Oh,
all right,
man.
we're up against it. Just a reminder, unless something changes, I'll do some research, but I think the statute of limitations is off. So I will share at least one of my dastardly deeds that myself and another cat took part in our younger days growing up in Colorado Springs. It was funny.
What, Mike, if you're going to share one, I'll share one. Well,
let's all do that. Here's the deal.
Nobody else has never. No, I don't think I've ever told the story to anybody except my wife. To tell you the truth,
let's. In fact, if you're tuning in late on this one, if you're going to watch it later, let's just do that. Everybody think about one thing that they probably haven't shared with anybody because maybe it was wrong. Maybe it should have landed you in jail. Maybe it should have done worse. And just, think of one story. We'll probably share more, but think of one story. I've got one. Ron's got one. I hope you come up with one, and let's do that next week. This ought to be fun. If nothing else, law enforcement will tune in, and it's going to be like it's going to be like the old, hey, you want a boat? Show up at this address. All right.
Come to the police station to pick up the keys. But don't go in. Just wait out front.
Well, I figure at almost 62, I should be. I think I'm good to go. So
at this point, Mike's like, "Fuck it, just you three hots in a cot. I'm in. Fuck it, let's go."
All right.
Here you go. Well, hey, thanks to you guys all for joining. I'm sure a lot of you, I know a bunch of people I talked to today said they're going to join in afterwards. But I think what we need to do, Mike, honestly, is let's once a day, seriously, once a day for the next 6 days, have at least one, if not two promos every day, discussing what you and I just talked about. That each of us are going to share one story, and we encourage or challenge everybody else to share a story. So you have been officially challenged. So are you going to step up or step off?
I'm telling you, we're going to be law enforcement's best friend next week. They're going to think they hit the damn jackpot. All right. I love you, little brother.
All right, man. Love you too.
I'll see you next week.
See you guys. Don't forget next week, next Wednesday, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. We're going to talk about shit you did.
There you go.
All right.
Peace out.
Bye.